Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2019 horror film Countdown, a film that is written and directed by Justin Deck, and it stars Elizabeth Lail, Jordan Calloway, Peter Fasalene and Dylan Lane. Now, this is a film that when you watch it, it will feel very, very familiar for you. Now, if I say to you that this film is a cross between Happy Death Day to You and Final Destination, it will give you a little bit of an idea of the themes and the feel of this kind of horror film. And it focuses on, essentially there is an app on a phone called Countdown. And if you download this app, it will predict the date of your death. And we first are introduced to this app. Everyone's doing it at a party. Some people are getting it so they're going to live into their 80s and the 90s, and this one particular girl gets it that she's going to die in literally a few minutes. Spooks are out, and then lo and behold the prediction comes through on her phone and she dies. And the film then transitions to Elizabeth Lail's character Quinn Harris, who is a newly qualified nurse at the local hospital. She learns of this app through someone who knew that girl that dies at the beginning of the film. She and some of her co-workers download it, and she is dismayed to find out that she's going to die in just, I think it's 4 days, something like that. She doesn't take any notice of this initially, and then there's some evidence builds up that in actual fact there could be some truth to this app, and if you try and change when you're going to die, it basically says that your user agreement has been breached, and it basically then will come for you in any way it chooses, this demonic thing in this film. So she's got to then there's a race to try and figure out what's going on with this app, how she can beat it, and she's joined with some other characters who also have downloaded the app and don't have long to live. Right, so that's pretty much the feel of this film and what this film is about. What are my thoughts on Countdown? Well, apart from some really poorly introduced character and some really generic plot devices and storytelling things going on in this film that are a real bore, at the very core of this film, the idea is sound. Yes, it is borrowing from other things that's come before it, but it's being reasonably clever with it. And there are some nicely placed scares in this film that genuinely work. This demon at the centre of this app that comes for them, I think, is nicely designed. It doesn't overuse it. And it doesn't rely on cheap jump scares, even though there are some in the film. The jump scares come from the actual scares in the film. They're not fake, like pigeons flying across the face or someone sneaking up behind them or that sort of thing that really cheap horror films tend to do. It feels most of the time that the scares are earned in this film, which I think stands it in really, really good stead. However, the way that this film really poorly introduces characters and the way it's poorly written at times really, really grates. And for example, as a priest turns up in the film who is supposed to know about demons and all this kind of stuff, and he's just there for exposition. They try and give him some personality and make him a bit of a comedy sidekick, but he's simply just there for exposition. There's another character, a hacker, that she meets when she tries to buy a new phone, just there as a plot device so they can hack into the phones. It's just really poorly constructed and introduced characters and really lazy writing at times, this film. And if it wasn't for the genuine scares or the real attempts to give you genuine scares, depending on who you are and how you react to scares in a film, it might not scare you at all, this film. But I thought there were some effective visuals going on here, some effective scares occasionally, and I liked the idea of this film. I just really, really struggled with the way the film was written and how some characters are introduced. It was really lazy at times, and some of the humour is really misplaced, I think. Like the two characters I've mentioned, the hacker and the priest in particular, I think the humour they tried to delivering to the film was misplaced and it didn't work. But I did think there were some genuinely disturbing scares for the most part for this film, and I thought the performances were all good. I thought it was a well produced film. It's got a good budget behind it. Yes, it might be what you would consider a PG-13. I think it's a 15 in the UK, but it's one of those, you could describe it as a teen horror that's reasonably tame. It's not graphic, there's not loads of blood and things, but it delivers a pretty spooky experience. There's like I said, that it really grates out. I mean, the central character here, I really liked her performance. Elizabeth Lale as Quinn Harris, the nurse. I thought she was a nice, genuine character that had real life problems. She was being like sexually harassed by a senior doctor at the hospital and that kind of stuff. It gave her character more things to do and more things to think about, and then it just introduced all these characters the film didn't really need, including her sister. It involved her sister in the film, and that felt a little bit forced as well. So for everything that's wrong with this film, I think I have to give it a score of 6.5 out of 10. I was going to give it a 7, even a 7.5 out of 10, but I think I would have been far too generous with that score. But it is worth checking out. There are some nice scares in it, but really Gorefest fans will probably avoid this, and if you don't like reasonably tame horror films, you probably won't like this either. But for me, I thought it was certainly watchable. So that's my review for Countdown. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and of course I'll see you next time for more reviews on Screen Stars.